Hello folks, Tony Howell here. In this video I'm going to be talking about when you get to a location and you've got perhaps a classic view in front of you, then how do you make it more artistic? So I think it's a good way to think when you're out in the field. You get your shot lined up, don't you? And it might be a classic landscape, but how can you make it more artistic? Can you use shallow depth of field? Can you do long exposure? Can you try and find a reflection of your subject instead of the main thing? Or can you do an intentional camera movement to try and make things more interesting? So in this video I'm going to be covering a lot of those kind of ideas. Now I'm here at Falmouth. You can see the port of Falmouth behind me. Falmouth is one of the deepest natural harbours in the world. So you get big ships coming in here. And I'm trying to get a shot of the sun rising. The lighthouse is what you can see in the middle bottom of my frame. Just about to see it flashing, hopefully. So soon the sun's going to come up there. If I've got my measurements right. I don't know how I can make this shot more artistic. It's already quite nice. Anyway, been trying to make this video for 2 weeks. Been out 4 times already. Done a bit and thought that's not good enough for a video. Done another bit, that's not. So I've been to 4 different locations. Anyway, hopefully it will make one video which is worth watching. Oh yeah, that's nice, with the sun glinting on the sea, isn't it? Look at that. That's beautiful. Let's do a 5-second timer just so I definitely don't get any camera shake because I'm at 400 millimeters. I think I've got a shot, so all is well, all is well. Oh, at last. I don't think it's anything artistic about it, although I could try a 10-stop filter, but I think that because the sun's rising quite fast and you've got the lighthouse just there, I think the sun will become a long kind of blur in 10 seconds, so I don't know if that's going to work. So I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing as the cloud is changing a lot. So I'm on 2 stops under at the moment. I wouldn't be without this 400mm lens. No way. No way. So we'll go for minus 1.5, make sure it's focused. And a 5-second timer, let go. Hurrah! Oh. Next time, get up earlier. And every time I come out to do a dawn shoot, I always say, Tony, you must come out more often. Do this more often. But you can be sure that tomorrow morning I just will not feel like it after a bad night's sleep. You know, gentlemen's problems, getting up 4 or 5 times a night. Just it's not conducive to getting up early. Anyway, I don't know how I could make this shot more artistic. I don't really want to do I could do a long exposure, I suppose, if the sun goes behind a cloud. I guess I could do intentional camera movement, but I don't know, doesn't feel right here. So now the sun's almost in line with the lighthouse, so I think that might be a good time for a vertical shot. So I'll get on with that and I'll put it on the screen if it works. Otherwise, you're just not going to see it. Okay, round to vertical or portrait orientation is pretty easy on this lens. Undo that and just turn it round. Line up the dots, tighten it up. Got this fantastic screen down here. Flipped down, right, so I just need to get it. Oh, that's a lovely shot straight away. Oh, I'm liking that. I don't like the 3:2 ratio for vertical shots. It's too long in my opinion. So I'm going to not bother cropping it now because things are happening too fast, but I'm going to crop it to a 4:3 when I get it back to the office. Yeah, I'm liking that. So let's go to minus 2 stops, so it won't go to minus 1.5, that'll do. 5-second timer. Great. It's all going well, this. I can't believe it. It's nothing artistic yet, though, which is what this video is about. Oh dear. Oh dear. Never mind. Never mind. Hopefully you don't mind me bumbling through my videos, because a lot of them are like that, aren't they? Right. That's a good shot. I like that. There is something magical about seeing the sunrise, isn't there? It's really something special. And now the sun's rising over the town of Falmouth, and there are 3 swimmers just gone in December. I mean, I did swim in October, which was pretty cold for someone as skinny as me. So for them to go in December, good on them. I've always liked multiple exposure photography. So back when I was shooting slides, and I used to shoot them on 35mm film and 6x6 transparency and 5x4 inch transparency. So here are 2 6x6 centimetre transparencies, and I used to combine them together in one slide holder and project them both together, and together they make one completely different image which looks rubbish on this screen, but I'll show you it now. Well, I did hope to do a video here today, but there's been a hell of a lot of rain lately, and the water's just way too high, so I've been wandering around for about an hour. Took a couple of photos, but I don't think they're great, so I'm just going to come back another day, I think, when there's been perhaps a couple of weeks without any rain. So I was just on my way back to the car, having given up on this place, and I had a look at this, and I thought, oh, it looks quite interesting, I guess. Nice mossy tree, ivy leaves, and I thought, nah, it's just not quite a really good photo. So, but I thought, just before I went, I thought I'd try a quick ICM, intentional camera movement, and I'm glad I did. So it's just she almost got tripped up by a bramble. Yeah, so I'm just about to take a photo now of using ICM photography. So shutter speed, I just put the aperture up to f16 because it doesn't really matter about softness when you're doing ICM photography, does it? And I'm just shaking the camera around, having a bit of fun. And I've got some images which, you know, a lot of people don't like ICM, and I get that, but I'm enjoying it, and I'm out, I'm carrying stuff around, I'm getting exercise. So yeah, great pictures. I don't know until I get back, but see what you think. So I also went down to Penberth Cove, which is a lovely little cove. I tried to be creative with getting these boulders in front, but I think this shot would be better in summer when there were perhaps boats on the causeway, something like that, just to add a bit more interest. So I don't think this is a keeper, this shot. I tried to do a bit of intentional camera movement photography, but all I got was a load of blurry mess. So I got a bit fed up and moved on. So I moved on to Wheel Owls, which is near the Crown's tin mines in Cornwall. And I thought I had quite a nice shot with some horses in the foreground until I realised that one of them was sniffing the other one's rear end. So I tried to be more creative by using shallow depth of field, and well, I mean, this grass just isn't interesting enough to make it worthwhile, I think. So the idea was good. I'd recommend you try this for your shots sometimes. But I actually ended up preferring the one that was focused on the engine house anyway. But I've already got a shot which is better than that, so never mind. So I thought, I know, come on, be artistic. So I tried a 10-stop neutral density filter, and I think that was probably the best result of the lot. But I still don't think this is a great shot, and I don't keep it because just the foreground's just that middle rock is just a bit too distracting for me, so I should have made more of an effort with the foreground. But I think it's quite a good shot, and I'll return and do it better one day. So most modern mirrorless cameras you can do multiple exposures with, but not with Sony, which is annoying because that's what I shoot with. And it's just a case of you take one shot and then you point somewhere else, and then you take another shot, and they layer over each other. With Canon it's fairly simple, I think. I'm not sure about Nikon, Fuji and the others. Anyway, the other way, of course, of doing it is relatively simple, and that's doing it later on in Photoshop. And this can be fun if it's absolutely tipping down with rain outside and you've got nothing better to do. So let's have a go at doing one of those now. Right, so I've just opened up these two images in Photoshop. So there's one of a spider's web and one of this is a sculpture on Crosby Beach near Liverpool in the UK. And I'm going to copy this first image, Control A, then Control C, and I'm going to paste it over the other one, Control V. I'm just going to use the move tool, which is V on the keyboard, just to move that one up because it's a slightly different size. So I want something like that. So now if you look on the right, you can see I've got two layers. There's the web underneath and the person or sculpture on top. So now you can just choose from the layer which type of effect you want. So this is normal, then you can choose dissolve, and it gives you a preview look as you scroll down. I think my favorite for this image is going to be probably like, not sure, color overlay. Yeah, I think overlay might be good, or soft light. No, overlay is better because the sculpture stands out better. So I'm going to choose overlay. So now we've got a combination of the two images, and now you can obviously change the opacity of them if you want to. So you can make the top image lighter. If you pull the background layer down to the plus sign, you can copy it, and then you can change the opacity of that layer as well. Let's merge. Let's get rid of the background altogether. Now we've got two layers, and now you can take down the opacity of the background layer as well to as much as you want, but I quite like it at 100% for this. So now you can do all sorts of filters, like you could choose liquify, and liquify, get it right, liquify is quite fun. Let's up the brush size and just drag this, and you can do all sorts of weird stuff, as you know, with Photoshop. So I'm just going to do all sorts of weird stuff and click OK. Not sure if I like that. Anyway, you can have hours of fun, but you can come up with a finished result which is pretty interesting, if nothing else. And it's being creative, isn't it, on a really miserable weather day when you don't want to go out. So I think this can be fun. A question I like to ask myself when I'm out in the field is, how can I make this more artistic? How can I be more creative with what's in front of me? So I'll see something like this beautiful lighthouse, which is made of wood and built in 1832, and it's still in use today on Burnham-on-Sea beach. And it's a fine shot, nothing wrong with it, but you know, it's a little bit boring and predictable and kind of like everybody could do it. So I looked for something different, and I found this beautiful reflection underneath the lighthouse, and I thought it's just so much better. So yeah, try and think artistically, Tony, and maybe you as well if you want to, because it just adds something to your photography. Yeah, you can't beat being outdoors and taking pictures, but sometimes you can just make something in Photoshop and you can be quite pleased with the result. So don't knock Photoshop creations. I made this one of Bristol, and the star of the show is the suspension bridge, but I just added all these other pictures. Now it's got a collage of all the different places of Bristol, and the end result, okay, it's a series of photographs just blended together, but it has sold several times, so yeah, don't knock it. While I was looking through my pictures, I came up with this one, which is a really nice picture of the tree roots, beech tree roots in Wiltshire, and I've always loved this image. It's only when you look closely and you see the lambs on the hill looking at me that it takes the image up to another level. And I think this is a great picture, probably one of my best, and yet it has never sold. That's life, eh? Sometimes a fairly heavy Photoshop adjustment can make things a lot better. Actually, better is a tough word to use, but take this, you know, perfectly nice picture of bluebells at sunrise, and if you add a heavy vignette to it, it transforms it to a different kind of image altogether. So I think although I think most people would probably prefer the first image, I really like the second one because it's just different and it's a slightly more artistic expression. Try doing wacky self-portraits like I did here with this Canon compact camera I used to own. So I just took a picture of myself in the reflection, and you can see my late wife in the background there on the top right. Also, series of pictures, like these signs, for example. I've just started collecting these images from around the world and over the years, and they're not great in themselves. They're slightly amusing maybe, but when you put them into a series, they make more sense. They're quite interesting. And the same with this series of benches. I've always liked benches for some reason. Don't ask me why. I think it's because I imagine myself sitting there. Yeah. So by themselves, these are actually pretty attractive images, I think. But when you put them into a series of 6 or 8 or whatever you want to do, they make a lot more sense, especially when they're displayed on one piece like this. Love this, when you get to a place and you've got a photo straight away, it means you got there too late. So should have been here about 20 minutes ago, and now the sun's completely hidden behind a massive cloud. So I took this shot, which I'm pretty pleased with. I had to bracket the exposure because the sun was so strong in the sky and the foreground is so dark in comparison. So there's a difference of about 3 stops between the two. So I bracketed the exposure just to make sure I got it all. And I think I've got it, so that's good. Yeah, I love being at this place. I'm just above a place called Cornwall, which is down there, and I'm overlooking Cape Cornwall, which is, well, right near Land's End. If I show you this shot again, you can see that the Land's End lighthouse, called the Longships Lighthouse, is right there on the horizon. The sea's rough, lots of chuffs have just flown past, a couple of ravens. So good, so good. I think if I've got one shot, that's it, I can go home happy now. But wouldn't it be great if that sun would just come underneath those clouds? I don't know if it's going to, but anyway, we'll see. I'm going to wait here for another 45 minutes, something like that.